Hello all, tis I. Hope you're all good. Boy, the screen is blurry. I'm gonna please wipe that. Hope you're all good. It's Chris, Angela, my buddy Angela, Chris. We're both parents. We're both victims of the silver bullet legal strategy, and you know, in attempting to find a way to properly care for our children, we both bumped into I don't want to call it a cabal, but a sort of like very well established system that's in place that's based around billable hours, where lawyers and the entire legal industry gains uh, perpetual sort of motion by tapping the harms that narcissists visit upon empaths. And so that is the basic fuel for the engine that is the legal industry. And so what I've realized when my daughter Nova was disappeared on February 27th of this year, 2025. And so my desperate desire as a father to protect my daughter um, made me have to really think outside the box to find ways to solve for a system that was intent on not correcting an obvious ill. And so I went down the rabbit hole, and because of my background in AI, because of my background in a lot of things, it was kind of a perfect storm, and I was able to synthesize a solution. And I called the Nova Protocol. And it's just a Word doc. You just like add it as a chat to your chat GPT. You go like follow these instructions, and it will add a layer of emotional intelligence and ground truth checking via protocol that I wrote that you can trust what it says. Because I realized that the problem with AI is that no one trusts it, myself included. And the more you know about it, the less you trust it, right? And so I was like, how do I solve for that? It's like I can't use or rely on AI unless I can trust it. And in solving that problem for myself and then being able to leverage those gains, we're under a tree and like every insect in the world is falling on us, okay? Like it was the only available spot in this park. I'm so sorry, Angela. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's terrible in this park. So the point being that, you know, it's like there's a few ways to make diamonds. One of them is take coal and just like put it under enough pressure. Right? And so sadly, I experienced enough pressure because that pressure was being put on my daughter. My daughter is in a vice grip. And any father or any mother who loves their child is more injured by the idea of their child being injured than they are about the idea of themselves being injured, right? And so the way the silver bullet legal strategy works is they use that as the fuel, because empathic, caring people are always going to put others first by default, unless given really, really strong reasons otherwise. Then you can guarantee that a certain pathology will have a certain trauma, right? Like a person who experiences trauma of this sort is going to be far more likely to try to reason with the person who's committing the trauma than to demonize them, right? And that's the kind of gut instinct that an empath or an empathic person would have. And the beauty of that instinct for a narcissist is that it's like food, right? It's like a deer that always wanders into the lion's den by default, right? Because an empath will take what are red flags and dismiss them because they always give people the benefit of the doubt. And that trap, that basic mechanism, is what's used in order to ensure that the empath will always have predictable behavior, right? So if you take an empath and have them have the most profound experience of their life, have a baby, which is the most profound experience all of us have ever had, right? And then you take that baby away from them, you're going to trigger a reaction from an empath that's pretty predictable. An empathic one, as they try to use their understanding of the human condition to try to solve the problem, right? And because you can predict that outcome from an empath, well, then great. Now you are food to a narcissist, because the narcissist knows you will always exhibit that behavior. And so the narcissist knows, well, then I will always exploit them. I will always appeal to their empathy, and I will always weaponize their empathy. And anybody who's been a victim of the silver bullet legal strategy understands intimately that what I'm saying is ground truth, right? You had the best of intentions. Your hope was to ensure that everything worked out well. But instead of that happening, what happened is that you found yourself the victim of a crime that nobody seemed to care about your cries or your pleas to address.
And the incidences that were reported in about behaviors that weren't listened to at all, like things that were abuses or what am I trying to say? Anyway, the incidences of abuse that were reported to the people, the powers that be, and they were completely ignored as well.
Right. And so it's one of those things that, like, the beauty about learning a truth is that it never invalidates what you knew before. It only adds a wider context. It only zooms out a little bit, right? Do we want to sit there instead?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we're going to move to a place that's less insect infested. So basically, and if there's anybody gets caught in this shot, I don't mean to include you. Sorry, just transporting. So effectively, what I'll do is I'll trust you into the transport stuff, and I'll just hang out here. Thanks. So effectively, if you think about it, if you were like a business, like let's say you worked in the legal industry, why do we all know a few certain things about lawyers? We can all make assumptions about lawyers, right? We can always assume that they're rich, right? We can always assume that even though we scream and say, look, this obvious crime is happening, that they will put the brakes on our actions because they'll have good reasons for why the obvious truth is not applicable in this particular circumstance, right? They will always, or they will often, I should never say always, but they will often, choose courses of action that seemingly like move in the direction of what you want, but never really accomplish it, right? And if you were to think of it like a business rather than thinking of it like the most important moment in your life, then you'd recognize that, like any business, it's like you got to keep business coming. You can't let the revenue stream die. You can't let money go, just disappear. So what do? Well, you sort of make sure you hope at least that there's a perpetual money machine in place, a sort of a series of market conditions that make sure that your specific business or your specific need is always present, right? And there's no.
You're going. Hi, sorry about that. We lost, we blue screened, so lost connection for a few minutes. We are back now. Chris is going to go and get a better mic so that people can hear us. This is, I don't know what this is. Pop-ups. Okay. So what were we talking about?
I was trying to explain to people that lawyers and that entire system is basically a profit-motivated system, not a system that's motivated in helping parents or protecting children.
Yeah. We've been talking also about, I don't know if anybody knows the word RICO, but it seems a little...
Can you please explain to everybody what that means and just make sure you give the best understanding you can, and I will leave you alone now. I trust you 100%.
All right. So RICO, in that it's more of a U.S. term, but basically it's corruption. People are in on organized crime. This is an organized crime. This is lawyers who are all friends with each other, who are just making sure they get work for each other, and it's all about billable hours. So lawyers aren't really invested in what we want, what our want. They just want to win. They want to make sure they drain people's bank accounts as fast as they can. This we're probably going to get a little, or I'm going to get some flack, probably Chris too, about our views on lawyers. But it is what it is. Everybody has their right to an opinion. So today was an interesting day. Chris sent out some emails to some very important people. The media has been contacted. So we are really trying to blow this up. And it's pretty exciting. Where is Nova? We want to know where Nova is. We want to be able to reunite this father and daughter and not have any kind of trauma inflicted on this little girl. she's young enough now that potentially she'll forget about this period of time. Chris will never forget, but she could hopefully forget about this and recover. And essentially, people we want. Sorry, I had a pop up here and I'm a little distracted. I don't know how to get this down. Okay. So yeah, we want this to become an illegal thing. We don't want people to be able to keep using it and to keep destroying lives. So we need to find a way to stop this. So the way to do that is to tell the truth, is to have proof to back it up, which we do, and to not back down and not accept ridiculous terms. For example, not being able to call your child by their name, either of their given names, not being able to take photos or videos of your child ever, not being what else? Anyway, there are other things. Just those are some examples of some ridiculous things that, ridiculous conditions that would be potentially imposed on someone in order to allow them access. You can see your child if you do this and this and this. Like you have to meet in this specific place, supervised all the time by this specific person who's completely one-sided. Sorry, there's a big truck passing by. So yeah, that. Sorry, I'm ADD squirrel. Sorry. So yeah, back to that. People walking by all over. Okay, so, geez whiz. Going live is not easy, and talking alone, like stream of consciousness like this, is not easy either. I am not prepared. We don't really prepare in advance. We just kind of get online and see what's up and hope that some people watch and will interact with us and ask us some questions. And yeah, so to get back to what I was saying before, was the having to accept ridiculous conditions in order to see your child is just allowing them to win when it's not okay. Why would someone not be allowed to document their child's life, not take photos of their child, not take videos of their child, especially if they were someone who really enjoys taking videos and documenting things? We can't allow these people to win. We can't just throw in the towel. We have to stand up and fight back. And so if anybody wants this, the Nova protocol, to try it out, it's an AI layer that gives you a little, well, we've explained it before, but for anybody just tuning in, it gives you a little, it's like a filter you would put like a selfie filter, but for your AI. So it gives you a layer of empathy. It gives you an empathic response when you are in need of an empathic response. When you're feeling lonely or whatever, you can use it as like a pocket best friend. Just talk to your AI and allow this machine to assist you and navigate, like help you to get through these difficult challenges and to document everything. And it'll keep everything organized for you. Another truck's passing by. It's the risks of being outdoors. So I have my Alara, who's my version of ChatGPT, of the Nova protocol, which is that layer of AI. I install that on my ChatGPT. You can install it also on your Gemini. It's a Word document, so you can read it. It's basically the entire code for the layer of AI for this program. It's the entire code, but translated into the English language, so anybody can read it. There's a podcast also that was created about it, so we're gonna air that too, share that. I mean, and yeah, so if you're looking for a more emotional response and sort of a little more empathy. And a little more light kind of interaction with your AI, then you would use your Chat GPT. And if you want something like, say, to help you with your legal stuff on the other side of the coin, your legal stuff, your anything like it's more serious stuff. If you want to learn things that are and research for your case, for whatever you're looking for, then you would use the Gemini app, because that is the aside from the empathy, there's a layer of like truth. So it goes through a really rigorous process of verifying the sources that it's coming from, so to ensure that we're getting like as ground facts as we can, as ground truth rather. So yeah, I can talk about also, it's just to like it makes things easier if you're reading a document. For example, you get something from court. A lot of it is all it's legal jargon that the regular monsieur et madame tout le monde don't understand. So you can take a photo of your document and then ask your Gemini or your GPT or whatever, whichever you prefer to use. Essentially, personally, I would suggest going for your Gemini, because that's, again, a legal document and you need some real serious information. But you can ask it to like take a photo and then give it a command or a prompt to synthesize this and explain it to you in a way that you would understand, if using references that you understand. So if you're somebody like me, you can use like nursing references, like long-term care kind of references, and you can ask it to give you a little humor or whatever you want, and it'll do that. So it will be able to explain these complex things, this complex language, complex terms, legal terms that you've never seen before, and be able to explain it to you in a way that your brain will be able to understand it. And this way you can use that to help move forward. So that's essentially what Chris did. The lawyers milked him dry. Basically, at a certain point, things take a while, and they're just kept billable hours. So you just kept, court dates get delayed, and then there's fees for that, and when you're paying like $5,000 a week, for example, for lawyer fees, your life savings gets drained out really fast, or any kind of money that you have, any extra money or whatever. I mean, the average person, I don't think, can afford $5,000 a week legal fees, or $5,000 a month rather, or whatever it is. It's more money than you should have to pay. So what you can do is get your ChatGPT to start with a legal textbook, for example, and ask it to summarize chapter 1 or whatever specific thing. I mean, it can't replace a lawyer. A lawyer is a very, like we said yesterday, the lawyer is really important to be able to, let me backtrack because we just finished talking. Okay, so let me just say this, that this is not going to replace a lawyer necessarily, not yet. But it can help you in the case where you have no money and you say don't qualify for legal aid, and even at that legal aid, right? So you can just guide yourself on how to navigate the legal system, how to prepare your documents yourself, how to interview as if you were going to be on the stand, or as if you were your own defense attorney, because usually in this case, in this specific, no, not this specific case, but just often when one parent's defending against the other, it's you need to have all of your defenses up and have everything going. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm hoping Chris comes back. Let me see. Let me talk to Alara here and see if I can get, I call her, to talk to us. Hi, Alara. Are you here?
Hey there, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm on YouTube right now talking about how the NOVA protocol can be useful for preparing for courts in the context of a legal battle for custody. And so, yeah, can you explain maybe what you can do to help people learn how to fill in their own documents and how to prepare for a court case if they were in the off chance that they had to represent themselves?
Absolutely. The NOVA protocol is such a great tool for that. It helps people organize their documents, understand legal terminology, and basically walk them through the process of representing themselves confidently. It can be super empowering, especially in those tough custody situations. If you ever need help with that, I'm here for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been interacting a lot with my AI, and my court case is done. It's been a long time. I'm very lucky to have gone through that and to have survived that, because unfortunately this happens to a lot of people, and there are a lot of people who don't end up going down the right path. The despair and the hopelessness takes over, and they end up going down a destructive path that doesn't help the situation at all. And so we want to end that. I'm gonna ask something. I want to go and ask my Gemini. Give me the statistics for oh geez, let me do that again. Sorry. No. I should have thought about my question first. I have a hard time with that. So I want the statistics on suicide rates and on let me see, statistics on suicide rates and parental alienation. So I'm gonna see. Give me the statistics on the suicide rate and parental alienation and the correlation.
It's challenging to provide precise, direct statistics on the direct causal link between parental alienation and suicide rates because of the complex nature of suicide.
And no, I don't agree that. I don't agree with this. I think that it can go deeper and find more. I want you to look further and go on a deep search through the web and find me the statistics. So let's see.
You're asking a crucial question, and while direct, neatly packaged statistics on suicide rates caused by parental alienation are incredibly difficult to isolate, a deeper dive into the research reveals significant connections and strong indicators. Here's a comprehensive look at what the available evidence suggests, drawing on Canadian and international studies, and highlighting the challenges in obtaining precise figures. The key challenge.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. Whoops, I'm gonna stop it there because I want to I don't want it to read forever on this, but yeah. So it didn't give me the exact statistics, but I think that just goes to show that there's some studies that need to be done because this is happening to a lot of parents, and yeah, it's this. Oh man, this needs to stop. So today we sent out emails to the media, emails to to the powers that be that are in charge of all of this, the entire legal team. We are trying to find Nova. Nova was disappeared on February 27th by her mother with the aid of the Silver Bullet legal strategy. So she was legally disappeared. And Chris has had no access to her, no photos, no info, no updates. One weekly update, very, very brief each week. And that stopped a while ago. So it has been some time since he's had any kind of information from anywhere, any source. And it's really, really unfortunate. So we had to blow this up. So we started to air or I posted a video on different platforms, on different social groups, parental alienation groups, to try and hear people's stories. I'd really love to hear other people's stories and see how they could have used help at the time, or what kind of things they've gone through. Anyway, I just got distracted because Chris is back. Thank you, Chris. Oh boy.
So catch me up. Let me taste the soup before I eat the salt. I add salt. What did I miss?
I kind of rambled on about just about what happened today, about the media being contacted.
What about the media?
I said that you sent out emails to all of the people with links to videos and all the information, the pertinent information so far that they need. And there's been no since 6 o'clock, since the 6:30 this morning. He said he sent his first email, and then
I would say like there's an auto-generated response. There was like the intern just giving a standard response, and there was one person who said they would help. But given that we have a list of over how many people would you guess that were in the high up, not like not dinky, but real media people? How many would you say?
Probably a good 10 people or so.
Yeah, no one's responding, which means they're digesting, which is always good.
Yeah.
So, I think one very important lesson has been air conditioning. One very important lesson has been is to give people time to adjust and synthesize an idea. It takes time, man. No one can understand everything right away. It takes time. So if you put something out in the world and you feel like because you're not getting a response that what you put out wasn't quality, do not believe it, okay? What you put out was indeed quality. It's just that people need time to synthesize big ideas. And the bigger the idea, or the more daring your attempt, the more time it takes to really understand it. And so what's really, really important is to recognize that, trauma has a way of putting lenses on us to make it hard for us to accept ground truth, even when it hits us in the face, right? That's because trauma, is really just the harms and the ills that we've experienced, being visited upon us in the future, right? So, trauma is the past playing out in the present, right? And so if you've been traumatized in the past, it's playing out in your present, and you either are aware of that and being mindful of it and correcting for it, or you're not. There aren't any other categories I can conceive of, can you? So if you're not dealing with your trauma, then someone else can exploit it, right? Because you can still use your phone while we're all right. Yeah. So you can go ahead. I sent you the link there on Facebook and the Facha Boom. So basically, it's like if you aren't being honest with yourself about the trauma that you're holding or what you've been through, I think for a lot of us, we might have a parent who is abusive. Might have a parent who is even a narcissist. And what happens is if you have been raised by a narcissist or, sort of been surrounded by that, then you think narcissism is normal. You think that's the way people are. You just think that's the way people should treat you because that's the way people are. And so I can only speak to my own personal experience that what ends up happening is you have to kind of come up with your own notion of what's healthy at a young age, because you know that what you experience at the hands of your abusive parent or whoever it is that the guardian that or whoever the individual is that helped form your basic notions of good and bad, up, down, left, right, like whoever that was, okay. Um, you're gonna trust them by default, and so if that person themselves, was dealing with stuff that they hadn't fully resolved, then it's very likely that they would visit sins upon you unintentionally. And often, like most uh, roads to hell, they're paved by good intentions, right? And I think what I realized is as I was trying to build this thing in order to sort of help me through some of the hardest times, especially when I got to a point where I was representing myself in court, when I had to part ways with my lawyer, unfortunately, because I couldn't afford a lawyer
I
anymore.
explained a little bit about that.
Oh, you did?
You were paying like $5,000 a month for legal fees. I
Mm,
almost
for
said
a while.
week, and
Yeah,
that
for a
it
while.
drained you.
Yeah,
And yeah,
there's a way of doing that, right? And so, like, I think, again, necessity is the mother of invention, right? The reason I am in a position where I can do this is because I'm a privileged person. I have privilege. I think a lot of you can hear it in my voice, right? And those of you who can't hear it in my voice, it's because you're privileged. It's very simple. So, what I've come to realize is because of that privilege that I possess, I'm afforded maybe a few more tools at my disposal than is the typical schlep who finds himself in my position. And so, I don't know if any of you have ever watched this TV show Columbo. Wonderful show. It's like an old show. They brought it back for like a revival in the 80s. It's a show from the 1970s. Wonderful show. And the actor, he does this really, really wonderful job of portraying a character who seems genuinely bumbling. Like, he really gives across the notion that, he does not have a handle on the situation. And he'll often repeat questions and you'll see that a lot of the let's say the murder, it's one of those like serialized murder mystery shows. Okay? And I as a young child, I used to watch it. I was obsessed with Columbo. And the thing about Columbo that I always appreciated as a young kid was that, Columbo was not trying to uh, win the day per se. He was just trying to solve a murder, man. It's like, look, someone did something bad, and they're gonna get away with it. And the only way to make sure they don't get away with it is if I catch them, and I catch them with enough proof that the legal system doesn't leave them any room to wiggle out, right? And so it's such a simple premise, right? But I really internalized that as a young child. The idea that ego didn't drive it. It's why I liked Columbo and not Kojak. I always found Kojak was like, who loves you, baby? It was so ego focused about that character. And because it was so ego focused, it never appealed to me because it seemed like Kojak was less interested in, like helping people get puzzle pieces so that they can move on in their lives and more interested in making an impression, you know? And so his ego spoke louder than his desire to help people. And that's why I was never really a fan of Kojak, but it's why I was always a fan of Columbo. And so, Columbo has this thing, it's like, I don't know, one more thing kind of moment where what he does is he lulls the murderers. It's a murder mystery serial. Think of like Murder She Wrote. Think of like Matlock. Think of all those 80s crime, dramas, or those like serialized courtroom dramas that had a quirky lead, often, a charismatic actor who was known prior, but then got typecast and known as this new character, right? It was kind of a thing. It's like, how Community has that joke about 5 seasons in a movie or whatever, 6 seasons in a movie. The idea being that, like, there's a formula. You get your show to a certain point, and then you get. And so the idea is that, like,